Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Got another great 2025 rookie scouting report for you today. We're going to take a look at Matthew Golden, going to be joined again by Jason DiRienzo, my podcast co-host, and we're going to break it all down. We're going to take a look at his 2024 production, his PFF grades, and how they stack up to the other receivers headed to the draft. We're going to talk his scouting report. We've watched the all 22 film, and then we're going to give you our report card grades and kind of talk about some comps where we kind of have him ranked right now. So no hotter a wide receiver going to the NFL draft. This guy was a late bloomer here in the second half of this season and really made a name for himself. If you want access to those all 22 films, consider becoming a subscriber to the NFL Draft Big Boards. Great way to support the channel. The website is there on the bottom of the screen. Go check it out. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the show. All right, Jason, let's get to our 2025 rookie report for the evening. Let's talk about Mr. Matthew Golden. Could there be a hotter wide receiver right now in the NFL draft cycle for wide receivers?
I don't
All right,
think so.
This guy had an amazing 3 games at the end of
Yeah.
the season, really 4 games. Unfortunately, the Ohio State game, he got injured, but flashed a little bit. So I cut up his all 22 films in preparation of this. We watched his Ohio State, his Georgia, and Arizona State. I mean, tell you, the dude blew up with Georgia and Arizona State, both impressive performances. 6 foot, 195-pound junior. So you like it when those juniors head to the NFL. But so let's go over his 2024 production, okay, and then his PFF grades as well. So you can see the ranks. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the ranks, and they're basically the ranks based out of the top 30 wide receivers headed to the NFL draft. All right, so 625 yards wasn't super productive. A lot of mouths to feed down there in Texas. 8 touchdowns, 70% catch percentage. All right. 15.2 average. All right. Slot versus wide versatility. Played 23% of his routes in the slot, 77% out wide, which is really interesting given his size. I thought it would be a little bit more 50-50, but he was on a lot of those. He was put in motion a ton on those films where he was getting really a lot of free releases. So he was, very versatile around the line of scrimmage, in motion a lot in their offensive scheme. So PFF grade, receiving grade, not too great. 68.3, ranked 28th out of the top 30 wide receivers going to the draft. Contested catch, he was solid at 70%. We saw that on the films that we watched, those boundary receivers or the boundary catches he had. He had 3 or 4 really, really impressive catches.
Beautiful.
Ranked second in the class. Yards after catch, 4.8, ranked 20th. He was pretty average on that. I saw some yak ability on the film. However, yards per route run for our analytical crowd out there, 1.67, ranked at the bottom of the barrel, really 28th out of the 30 wide receivers in that department. And the drops, he was kind of middle of the road with 4.7. But I think overall, he's got sticky hands. So we watched the Ohio State, Georgia, Arizona State game. We've watched him all season long. We've been watching Matthew Golden, even at Houston for years. Tell us, what are we looking at with Matthew Golden going to the NFL draft?
Yeah, I think we're looking at a dynamic, versatile receiver. So right off the snap, I love the acceleration. I think he does not waste any movement. He has a blueprint of a plan of exactly how he's going to execute his release moves, whether it's a 1-step, 2-step, if it's off-man coverage, he is eating into that cushion and deadly when it comes to the manipulation as far as right when he gets to the defender, breaking inside, outside, or just getting around him. I love how he moves the defenders with his eyes and his body gestures. At the same time, his breaks are actually pretty crisp. I think he's a little bit too upright in his breaks. I want to see him get a little bit lower. I think some of the high speed change of direction might be a little limited or capped at the NFL level. So that's something I want to see him work on, but very manipulative within those breaks. He absolutely understands keeping his eyes centered downfield on a vertical route and then breaking to the inside. When he's navigating through the seam, does not sell the route at all. Like he will just go split between 2 defenders and hit a post route and hit that extra gear of acceleration. I like the long speed. The body control is phenomenal. Every time I saw this kid catch the ball, whether he had to adjust himself, basically turning all the way around mid-air, catching the ball, and then falling back on his feet, keeping balance, and then maintaining to get yards after the catch. Really
Mhm.
impressive stuff. I'm not sure there's anything this kid can't do, to be quite honest with you. And I'm saying that because this is a deep depth chart that he fell into when he transferred over, and he actually came out on top. And I find that so impressive. to be that type of guy who develops quickly into a receiver that can just be a versatile weapon. You give him the ball, he could actually be a runner at the same time. I think he'd be great on endo rounds with the type of speed that he possesses. So
Mhm.
I think this is a versatile athlete. I think there's a nice combination between what you could get from Luther Burden, not the yak ability, but just that stemming and the elusiveness. And I think he's a much better yards after the catch player than what
Mhm.
PFF says in general. So yeah, I think this is definitely a top 5 receiver in this NFL draft. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody has him in top 3 like I do.
Yeah, I mean, he started off the season a little slow when he came on. He was an incoming transfer, so I think by the time he got
Right.
comfortable in the
So
whole
he had to catch
offense,
on.
he had to catch on. But yeah, I like what you said about his versatility is really good. I think he's really got great short area quickness. I like
Yeah.
his footwork, like his in and out of breaks, his change of direction skills. I think are pretty solid. The only concern I have with him, even though that body control and everything was great, I'm just wondering how his length and his ability to fight through contact
Mhm.
at the next level. We saw the boundary plays on the film. We saw that.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, I mean, I gave him a really good grade. We're going to get into our grades here. Do you think he's got breakaway speed? I mean, do you think he's
You know
got
what? I think he's more quick than fast, but I think
that's
once
what
he
I
gets
think.
moving,
Yeah.
I think he could definitely have that breakaway speed for sure.
Yeah. So, he stacked really well on those vertical plays, but
Yes. Yep.
you really like the way he was used in this offense. I mean, he did get a lot of free releases, but there were 3 or 4 plays on each of those films that we saw where he was faced up on one-on-one coverage with the DB in his face.
Mhm.
And, I like his handwork. I like the ability to, defensive manipulate with his head bobs and everything. So, I mean, he's a space creator, right? So he's got
Yes.
that short area quickness. So he's going to be a good, I think, possession receiver. Really surprised he played so much out wide, but a lot of those wide characteristics in there, just so everyone understands. Because if you watch the film, you'd see this. He did a lot of the running across the line of scrimmage and then, ran
Mhm.
down the boundary.
He got motioned a lot.
He got motioned a lot. So, I mean,
Yeah.
when he did face press, it was always kind of more in the slot than it was kind of outside one on one. But nonetheless, man, he is a really good receiver. I've got him ranked pretty high. So let's get into our scouting report card grades. Release and route running, I gave him a B plus. The only reason I didn't give him an A is because of what I just had previously mentioned. I'm just wondering if he can win vertically, if he is from a
Mhm.
standalone situation facing somebody, if he can win vertically. But the short area quickness and space creation is what we look for in wide receivers. I gave him a B plus. I think he's really good in that.
Yeah, I gave him an A. I like everything I saw from the separation ability, the creativity, and just the manipulation within the route. I understand what you're saying on the like a 9 route. If he has that speed, that might be
Right.
the limit. Maybe that's why I didn't give it A plus.
Yeah. Yeah. So ball skills and hands, I gave him a B plus. I mean, the guy's got really good hands. What we said, 70% catch percentage, right?
Mhm.
I mean, the body control and the concentration and the ball tracking, it's all there. I'm just wondering if he's got that lift and height,
Yeah.
to win in the NFL. The big difference of college than winning against DBs in the NFL. If you don't really create that space, if you find yourself in contested catch situations. But man, what you saw on film, you can't deny it. So I gave him a B plus. I just couldn't give him an A because of the length and physicality. I'm not sure he'll be able to win consistently at the next level.
Yeah, I did like the vertical explosion that I saw from him. I
Mhm.
mean, he got pretty high off the ground even when he had to contort backwards. So I
Yeah.
was definitely impressed there. I just don't know how he's going to be in traffic situations playing against NFL level competition. That's what holds me
Mhm.
back a little bit.
So you gave him a B plus too.
I gave him a B plus too. Yep.
Okay, great. Acceleration and speed, I gave him an A minus, man. The guy is, like I said, change of direction skill. He's
Mhm.
got the short area burst, the change of direction skill. The only reason I didn't give him an A and I gave him an A minus was just because of that vertical speed, wondering, what that looks like. Just didn't see a ton of that breakaway speed, but guy's got a space, he's a space creator. You got to give him an A.
Yeah, I give him an A. I think you said it perfect.
Yards after the catch, I gave him a B. I mean, there wasn't a lot on the film of him with big breakaway runs and all that. A lot of the stuff that we saw was the boundary, body control, catches. Not with him really running with the ball in his hands, but the limited that I did see, I don't see any problem with it.
No, not at all, and there was one game I was watching where he literally split the seam between 2 defenders and then executed a beautiful post route, caught the ball on the run, and was able to gain another 15 to 20 yards, and I think that's the type of yards after the catch ability that I wanna see from a guy like that. If it's in a traffic situation where he's got players around him, that's the only thing that's holding me back, but I gave him a B plus in this area.
Awesome. So physicality and strength, definitely physical enough to win in the NFL. I gave him a
Mhm.
solid B. He's not,
Yeah, I gave him a solid B too.
he's got no issue with that at all. So you think he's a day two pick, draft capital wise? I mean, do you
It
think
wouldn't
he's a
surprise me if he snuck into the back end of one, but yeah, definitely day 2 all day long.
no, I don't see him a one. I don't, I
Mm.
mean, I
I
know there's
think
a
a
lot of
team is gonna fall in love with him.
yeah, I
I
don't
could
know,
see it.
maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. It'll be I'm thinking early day two, but you never know, right?
I mean,
So
early
we'll
day
see.
2 is perfect for a
Yeah,
guy like this.
well, it's draft day two draft capital is fine with me with a wide receiver.
Yeah.
So a comp, I kind of see his game, kind of like Zay Flowers. Now Zay Flowers wins more in the middle of the field, but I've seen Zay Flowers win on the boundary as well. But just watching them,
Mhm.
two smaller receivers that can, really win all over the field, has good yak ability. So he was my comp, Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I like that comp a lot, actually. They kind of are very similar type players. I went with Jerry Judy. The route running of Jerry Judy reminds me of
Mm.
some of the route running I've seen from Matthew Golden. I think they could be very comparable, and maybe it does take Golden a year or two to come on, like it did with Judy. But once he does, I think you're gonna be very happy to have him on your roster.
Yeah, so he's going to be an exciting player. I've got a couple. I got one share, I think, in my Devi league. So, you got any
I don't think
shares
I
in
have
any of your?
any. I
No,
don't think
you have
I
no
do,
shares.
but
No.
I
Okay.
definitely wish I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering what a Devi league is, it's when you draft college players and you put them on your bench for future dynasty rosters. So at least I got one share to see where he lands, but it should be good. So yeah, Matthew Goldman, top five receiver, for me,
Mhm.
for you as well.
Yeah, definitely for
Yep.
me. Yep.
So there you go. So we'll see where he lands, and hopefully he gets a good spot with some opportunity.